What's up, all you cool cats and kittens? The Hybrid Camper Guy and the official YouTube channel, The Hybrid Camper Guy, has no affiliation with Carol Baskin. Apologies. What's up, guys? It's Brandon the Hybrid Guy, and today I have a sad video, but a video that is very needed. So any of you that have been wondering how to winterize your camper, those of you that are in the colder climates, this is something that you gotta do. It's a sad time of the year, but it's not too hard of a process. So today I'm gonna go over everything with you. Now, for those of you that don't know, I have a 2004 R-Vision Trail Cruiser. This will apply to any camper. It's all pretty much standardized. So what we're gonna do here, I forgot my flashlight. So I'm gonna see if you guys can see. The first thing we're gonna do is go to the back of the water heater, and we're gonna do what's called a water heater bypass. The reason for this is you don't want antifreeze sitting in your hot water heater. There's just no reason for it because there's a drain on your hot water heater, which I'm going to show you as well. So before we do anything, we're going to initiate the bypass. Let me see if I can get camera light on here. I cannot. Okay, let me get a flashlight. Okay, no problem. Nifty light here. Now, in my camper, I'm gonna switch the camera around. My hot water heater is here behind the kitchen. So I go in from the back of this cabinet, and this is what the back of your hot water heater will look like. And this is going to be everybody's hot water heater. You have three valves here. You can see you have a center valve, you have a bottom valve, and you have a top valve. That up top there, that red, that's your hot out. That white there, that is your cold water in. And then that is what's called the bypass. So what we're gonna do to stop the water pump from pumping antifreeze into the hot water heater is we're going to go ahead and close this valve, and we're gonna close that valve up there. Now, if you see the valve, when it is perpendicular or non-perpendicular to the line, that is closed. When the valve, as seen there, is perpendicular to the line, that means the valve is open. So what we're doing is, as the cold water comes in, it would normally go into the hot water heater and then back out. We're bypassing that. So the cold water is going to come in here, it's going to go up through this bypass and then back out. Literally just taking the hot water heater out of the equation. Okay, so I have my valves turned already, but you're going to want to open up your cabinets, find your valves, and that's going to be step one. All right, now we're going to take you outside to the back of the hot water heater. So again, I do this at the end of every trip, and I do suggest that others do it too. You don't have to, but you're going to want to drain the hot water heater. Most of the hot water heaters will have, this is just a plastic drain with a hex head. You can use a wrench or an actual socket to get it off. I replace it with a Camco quick release valve or a drain valve. So what you do is you're going to want to pull this out, whether it's you have the valve or whether you just have the plastic cap. See, I open that up, and there you can hear that's the pressure that's built up in the hot water heater. So I'm releasing that pressure right now. I'm gonna make sure all the water's out of there. It's kind of odd how it built up pressure from traveling, but you also have to have a way for air to escape because this is a tank. It's the same thing as a bottle, where if you can imagine, you have to puncture the bottle on one side to let the air out as you drink it, or the same thing as a gas tank, how you open the little tiny valve on the back to let air in. Okay, so as you can see right now, it's draining, but very slowly. So the trick to this is we're going to open up this. This is your high pressure blow off valve. So essentially, if your hot water heater builds up too much pressure, if the thermostat's not working correctly, this will pop open and allow the pressure to release so your tank doesn't explode. So we're gonna go ahead and open that, and now you can see the water, like I said, I did drain this, but now you can see the water really running out. Okay, but that just lets air in so the water can escape. So I'm going to leave that open while I'm doing this winterization. But this is the next step you want to do. Okay, next we're going to go, and we need some RV antifreeze. So I have this from Starbright. This is 1 gallon from last year. And then I think I have one here here's Super Tech from Walmart. It's the same stuff. The pink is down to -50. For most climates, this will be sufficient. For those of you up in Alaska, Maine, maybe Washington State, you could, I doubt it gets -50. I'm no geographer, but it's possible. Just know your temperatures. -50 is going to be plenty for most parts in the country. So I have 4 gallons of this, and we're going to go ahead, open them up, and we're going to dump them right into the water tank. Now, there's other ways to do this. Newer RVs have actual flush hoses. For those of you that have those, I feel your camper's new enough that you will probably explain this at the dealer. Typically, my videos are for older RVs and people getting into the older RVs. So this is going to be hard to do on camera, so I'm going to pause the camera. But a funnel would be sufficient, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to dump about 4 of these. I have a 20-gallon tank into the freshwater tank. And then we'll go from there. Alrighty, and we're back. So now I dumped about 3 gallons of antifreeze in the freshwater tank. I do have my battery hooked up currently, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to my control panel, or your control panel obviously be slightly different, but we're going to go ahead and turn the water pump on, let it build up pressure. Okay, we built up pressure. Now the next part is relatively straightforward. We're going to go around to each faucet and each water outlet that your camper has, and I'll go to each of them that pretty much your camper will have as well. And we're going to go ahead and turn the faucet on until it runs pink. So I'm going to remove the trap. I'm going to go right here. You can see the water, regular water coming out. And now you can see it's running pink. I'm going to go both directions, cold and hot. Alright, I'm going to move over here. Now I'm doing this side of the drain so I can get my P-trap. Just using one of my kids' toys. This little plastic beads exploded. I'm going to have to take care of this in the spring. It's getting a little cold here. I'm going to go ahead and run just a little bit down here just so it gets the P-trap. Okay, that should just about do it. Now next we're going to go into the bathroom, and we're going to take care of everything in the bathroom. So first things first, we're going to run the toilet until, again, it comes out pink. There we go. I'm going to run that just for a couple extra seconds just to get a decent amount down in the tank. Okay, toilet's done. And we're going to go to the next one, which is the bathroom sink. Thought I had everything ready to go. Sorry guys, it's been a crazy week, but I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna turn on one side of the faucet until it runs pink. This is the farthest faucet away from the water pump, so there we go. You see just how much water is in your lines, even if you drain them. Okay, now I'm going to run the hot side. And that is pink. Now I'm going to go to the tub. And we're going to run the same process. Turn on the cold, and that is pink. And the hot. And now that is running pink. I'm going to take the shower head down. And I'm going to face this towards the ground. Sorry for the awkward camera there, guys. And that is pink. I'm going to clean up all this extra or at the end of the video. So next, and one of the important things too that I think a lot of people forget about is your outside shower. You definitely don't want to forget that. So mine's all the way back here, opposite side of the camper, and I had already opened it up for you guys. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the same process here. We're going to go ahead and turn on the hot and the cold just until it runs pink. All right, we're looking nice and pink. I'm gonna let all these naturally drain and dribble out just a little bit there. So now we have antifreeze in our tank. Our hot water heater is bypassed and drained. As you can see now, it has stopped dripping, and you should have no antifreeze that is coming out of this at this point. That's how you'll definitely know if you have your hot water heater bypass done correctly. You really don't want to get antifreeze in here because, I mean, it's just an extra process of having to clean it out at the beginning of the season, which you really don't have to do. We're gonna go ahead and close that up. And now, camper is winterized. As far as freezing, so that's all the water lines done. If you have a refrigerator that has an ice maker, there is a process for winterizing that as well. I do not think that's going to apply to really any one of my followers that most of us do not have residential refrigerators. The next thing we're going to turn off the water pump. And then just like you're doing at the end of a camping trip, we're going to relieve the pressure from the system just by turning a faucet on. And that's really it, guys. What I'll do is I'll go back around with paper towels and I'll wipe out the antifreeze from the sink. Obviously, it's not like water. It's not going to just evaporate. It doesn't really stain, but it can. So I don't like to leave it in there, and it is a little sticky. So that's what I do. I'll go ahead and wipe up the sinks. I'll wipe up the tub. We have sufficient now. Everything in our gray tank, obviously that's our drains. Everything that we just drained out of the faucets, all that antifreeze, has gone down through the system and filled up some of the gray. We use the toilet to fill up some of the black, and then we want to make sure all of our P-traps are done, which obviously they're done because you ran water down them. So that's just about it for antifreeze. The next thing you want to go ahead and do is you're going to want to go ahead and take the ground terminal off of your battery, so that way your battery doesn't dissipate charge. If you have a battery cutoff switch, you're going to want to go ahead and use that battery cutoff switch. You really should be doing that every weekend, but at the end of the season, it's definitely important. If you have a garage, or even in your house, a basement, anything, you want to remove your battery if possible, because the cold really does do a number on the battery, and there's no reason for it to be in the RV. Unless you're a person that leaves a trickle charger on the RV all winter. However, it's not necessary. If you want to trickle charge the battery with a trickle charger, I would take the battery out of the RV and still bring it inside. The other thing I'll do is I'll go around the RV and I'll check all the seals at this point. See if there's anything major that needs to be sealed, because in these colder temperatures right now, it's getting to the low 50s, high 40s tonight. So I won't be doing any sealing, but I do have one spot on my camper that needs to be resealed before the end of the season. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that tomorrow. And that's something important that you want to do, because as you guys know, especially with these hybrids that are made of particle board, one leak could be very detrimental. Keeping up with your seals is very important, and an annual inspection, especially at the end of the year, is good. The next one is preference. There is a lot of back and forth online, and I'm not claiming to be any type of expert. I have a decent idea on what I'm doing. I live and breathe campers. I've had boats my entire life, which is very, very similar, and that's actually where I started with all my maintenance and everything like that, which a boat is very similar, just constructed a little bit better. I cover the camper, plain and simple. Some people don't talk about breathability, moisture buildup. I've never had an issue. The air conditioner on top of your camper, it is going to keep the tarp off of the roof directly. So in my opinion, you get a snowfall, you have a, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of snow on top of your camper. Now that's just moisture, wet, sitting on top of your camper. If there's any little leak, as it's melting, everything's going to melt on the camper first while the snow stays above, and it's just going to hold water on those spots. So for me, I would much rather have a tarp over top of the camper so there's no direct water on top of any of your die-core seals, because remember, the die-core is just a water diverter. What's actually sealing up underneath of there, all of your vents, your skylights, etc., that's all what's called butyl tape. That's the actual sealant. The die-core you put on top is just to divert water away. It's not the actual seal. I think a lot of people are confused about that fact too. So for those reasons, that is why I choose to tarp my camper. And again, I forgot my tools, and my radio antenna is up there, so I can't put the tarp up tonight, which is upsetting. I'll have to make another drive out here to my storage unit. But it is what it is. So I definitely would cover it. And there is one more thing, guys. I'm sorry, there's a little bit, but this is a cheap thing. Again, this is not preference. This is definitely something you want to do. And this is something you should really be doing all summer. It shouldn't just be with winter. Especially if you live in a climate where it gets humid. Even here, I'm in New Jersey, and it gets humid. They're called damperids. I'm going to flip the camera. Now, these remove moisture from the air. They are moisture eliminators. I put this one in a week ago. I have nothing so far. Over the summer, these things would fill up in a week. I mean, it was really bad. I put about 4 of these all over my camper. My camper's box is about 23 feet. So I have one here in the kitchen. I have one up in the front. I have one in the back here. Now, each of these by the tent beds, which obviously is a weaker ceiling point than the laminated walls of the trailer. That's why I keep them there. And then I have one behind the toilet or in the bathroom. Pretty much you want one in every room. And what those do is they literally suck the moisture out of the air. The less moisture in the air, you won't get things like this. Now, some people look at this and say, oh, boy, he's got a water leak. No, this is not a water leak at all. This wall is solid. What this is from moisture. The wallpaper has unfortunately peeled away. And that's why you want damperids. It stops things like that from happening. Another thing you guys can do, well, first off, before I even say another thing you guys can do, you want to keep your refrigerator and your freezer, I'm going to zoom you out here, open. You do not want to leave it closed, guys. This is how moisture builds up and mildew builds up inside your refrigerator. You can see my refrigerator is 16 years old, and it looks brand new. There is no mildew anywhere. And that's for 2 reasons. A, I leave it propped open, and I do that simply just by using my broom. The other thing I do is a $2 baking soda fridge pack. This relieves smell, and it also pulls a little bit of the moisture out. And this is what keeps your fridge and freezer looking great, not smelling. Make sure you keep it propped open. Like I said, you do not want to leave it closed. So guys, that is just about all the tips I have for winterizing your camper, but I wanted to make a pretty thorough video on the things that are definitely most important to do, like getting antifreeze inside of your trailer. You can blow it out with air. However, you saw how much water was in these lines. There's always going to be low spots, and it's hard to get all of that water out. In the spring, I'm going to make a video and show you guys how to properly drain all the antifreeze, and I'm going to also show you how to sanitize your tank. I've been doing this on my boat for 15 years and on my campers for almost 10 years now. And every year there's no smell and it works as it should. And I don't have any broken lines. So in the spring, look out for that video. I think this will probably be the last video I have for you guys this year. I really appreciate all the love and support you have given me. Can't believe how many subscribers I got just in a few months. And I'm just a dude with goofy hair going over some interesting things and some maintenance tips you can do with your camper. But I'm glad you guys have appreciated it. I thank you this year. I'm looking into some cooler content, some cooler camera equipment and stuff like that for next year. This is a hobby I have enjoyed doing. The camping life is a life that I absolutely love. And I want to help everyone else out there who may be thinking about getting into this, but they're worried about taking care of it. It's another house on wheels. Kitchen, couch, furniture, water system. There is stuff you have to do, but it's not that hard. And guys, I'm going to show you how to do it all. Those bottles of antifreeze, they're $2.70 at Walmart. These damper rids, your local dollar store, they're $1 a piece. Here we got 10 bucks to winterize your camper. Doesn't cost much. You don't have to pay anyone to do this. You can do this yourself. So again, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the love. Leave a comment. I'll probably won't see you till the spring, but this has been a good year so far, and I'll see you next year. Hey guys, one more thing I wanted to add. These right here in the picture are your low point drains. These you can remove the caps and this will drain the water system at its lowest point. Mine just have caps on them and they are sealed. Some campers actually have a ball valve. If you have a ball valve on yours, you want to go ahead and open that and let that drain completely before you put the antifreeze in the system. Mine do not have ball valves, so I just simply filled the system with antifreeze this time. I will be installing ball valves next year. It's not completely necessary, but I just wanted to add it.